Hello, everybody. I'm going to be at the MACE conference when you guys are having your meeting. I talked to John and decided that I will just record a little update for everybody. And I'd be happy to follow up with anybody about anything that's in here when I get back, or feel free to send me an email. So today I'm going to talk about the school improvement initiatives and maybe some opportunities to collaborate for this year, and do the same thing under state and federal programs. So starting with school improvement, kind of keep going with the comprehensive needs assessment and service delivery plan stuff this year. First of all, I really wanted to thank everybody's involvement in that last year. It was hugely beneficial to have people at the comprehensive needs assessment day when we were working with the districts. It was also great to have everybody's collaboration around kind of how to take that to the next level with the service delivery plans and involvement with Fruitport as they're helping to pilot and that sort of thing. So just thanks for everybody with all of that. So for this year, I do send monthly communications to all of the principals and curriculum directors. Most of the superintendents also get that. All of the special education directors and supervisors. With monthly data tasks for them to work on, and really trying to collect data in lots of different ways for our kids, and give teams opportunities to look at and talk about that data, not just at our comprehensive needs assessment days, but at their school improvement team meetings, which is what I'm trying to support with those monthly communications. This year, I'm also working with Jessica to put data binders together. And so we're kind of going to take the concept of the special education data posters that some of you might be familiar with, and then all of the different data that we used at our comprehensive needs assessment days, and we're trying to put those into binders for the districts to provide. And we're actually going to do that at our first curriculum directors meeting. Is going to be a joint meeting with curriculum directors and special education directors and supervisors. And so we're going to give the binders to them at that time. And what I'm hoping that they'll do is when they have those data conversations, they will take any of the data that they had, their local data, whether it's assessment data, perception data, or those sorts of things, and they'll actually put that into the binders. So I can show everybody an example of that another time. But that's one of the kind of new things that's going on this year. And I've kind of already alluded to that piece about how we're really trying to work really collaboratively with the special education department on this, since the ISD now has to do the monitoring of special education for all of the districts. And so we're really trying to integrate that special ed monitoring into the comprehensive needs assessment process and have really good representation from special education on our school improvement teams, and just make sure we're talking about all of the kids when we are talking about our data. So all of our gen ed kids, all of our special education kids, all of our kids. We're going to continue to have our countywide comprehensive needs assessment work session in March. Hopefully all the districts will take advantage of that. Last year I worked with almost all of the districts. I think there might have been one that didn't participate in some way in that process. And would like to continue to build out and improve on and expand the service delivery process. So that'll be something I'm sure that we'll be working on together with IS and SE. So as far as that goes with the collaborative support opportunities, it was so awesome last year to have all the coaches and consultants that participated in the comprehensive needs assessment work session. Like I mentioned earlier, just really looking forward to collaborating around that service delivery process, whether it's in the data collection or working with the districts or looking at the data about what services we're already providing, just kind of looking to improve on and streamline that process. Also in school improvement land, there's a new, I guess, school improvement process is being rolled out by the state. They don't want to call it school improvement anymore. They want to call it MyKIP. That's the Michigan Integrated Continuous Improvement Process. So it's a little confusing. They're trying to change the name, but in state and federal law, it's still called school improvement. So they're trying to kind of rebrand it and maybe change some of the stigma around the words school improvement, but it's still called that in state and federal law. So that's just a little tidbit to keep in mind. So MyKIP, I know that when you see that, you might want to say MySIP, but it's MyKIP. So like I mentioned, this is going to be the new school improvement process from MDE. It was actually kind of presented last year in a very not complete state. It was kind of more conceptual. So we're kind of in the second year of the rollout. There still isn't a lot of content behind it. They're really trying to emphasize that this is a process, not a compliance product to complete. Like right now, districts complete their school improvement process in Assist. They're trying to say that this is a process, it's a conversation. And honestly, it really, what it looks like is our CNA process that we've put into place for 2 years already here at the ISD. So we're starting our third year this year of the CNA process. And I really feel like we're already well established to be doing what they're trying to do with MyKIP. So if anybody's asking, or if you're working in districts and they're like, what are we supposed to do for school improvement this year? All the processes are the same. So all the compliance tests are the same. They still do it all in Assist. So they're really hoping that there's going to be a full implementation next school year, the 2021 school year for MyKIP. So I'll kind of try to keep everybody up to date on that. Really a main emphasis of this is that they're trying to focus on the whole child. And that means trying to look beyond assessment data, and anybody that participated in our CNA process for the last couple of years knows that we go way beyond the assessment data. There's lots of other things that we could be doing too. So hopefully there will be some good content in this as we go forward. I do think that that will open up a lot of other opportunities for us to collaborate about really how to identify, collect, and discuss whole child data, and then to help the districts use that new information to improve their outcomes for all their kids. Not just their assessment outcomes, but their whole child outcomes. And last school improvement update. So I've been working on a multi-year assessment plan. And so this is the second year that we're going to be doing countywide PSAT and SAT work, as well as countywide M-STEP work. And I've been working closely with Kristen, and I'm getting the ELA consultants and coaches involved as well. This year, PSAT, or I should say, when the kids took the assessment last April, that was the first year that the PSAT 8 became the state assessment at 8th grade. So we now have PSAT from 8th through 10th grade as the state assessment, SAT at 11th grade, and then M-STEP is now 3rd through 7th grade. So there was a little bit of a change there, and so we're going to be working on having 8th grade through high school staff participating in our countywide PSAT and SAT days. And then our M-STEP days, we're going to be looking at 3rd through 7th grade staff coming together to look at that. Another part of that assessment plan is I'm working on trying to do some sort of correlational analysis between the local assessments that we're giving and how the kids perform on the state assessment. Right now, kind of depending on what list you look at, we're giving between 11 and 13 local benchmark type assessments. So I'm talking about STAR or NWA or FastBridge or DIBELS, iReady, Fontes and Fennell, all those different things. And that kind of makes it, I think, kind of difficult for us at the ISD to be able to support districts and how to analyze that data and put that into action. So I'm trying to maybe show which one of our local assessments are the most closely aligned to performance on the state assessment. And from there, hopefully we can whittle that list down a little bit more so that we can be more proficient at providing assessment services to this to our schools. So anyway, that's a kind of a long-term project. Just want to let everybody know that I am working on that, and I would be happy to get any other kind of input on that process. Maybe that's something that we can talk about more another time. As far as collaborative support opportunities, when it comes to the PSAT, SAT work session and the M-STEP work session, I would love to have any and all coaches and consultants involved in that. It's very, very helpful here, as well as with our comprehensive needs assessment work, to have MISD staff sitting with the districts and schools at their seats. It really just helps to kind of focus the conversation and just kind of guide things along. So any assistance we can get with those days would be great. So we do have the dates on the calendar for the College Board assessment. So that's the PSAT and SAT. September 24th is when we're going to be working with the math departments, and October 2nd is when we're going to be working with ELA. We haven't scheduled the M-STEP yet because we're never really sure when the state's going to release that data, and I can't really set it up until I know that. So that is to be determined. So talk a little bit about state and federal programs. I talked a little bit already about the targeted technical assistance, but the main thing that we're trying to do is we're trying to align targeted technical assistance, so that is the ISD's monitoring of the districts and special education. We're trying to align that with the on-site reviews that are given from the state. And what we're trying to do is make sure that if somebody's getting an on-site review, they'll also get their targeted technical assistance, because the processes are very similar. They have to collect the same kind of data, and there's always compliance action that comes out of this. So there's always findings that will come out of targeted technical assistance or on-site reviews. And if we can just kind of get it all out of the way at once, I think it'll save districts a lot of work putting these sorts of things together. And then we can get any of that compliance action into their school improvement plans right away. This year, Muskegon Public and Muskegon Montessori will be getting an on-site review and going through the targeted technical assistance program. There are a couple of other districts that are also going through targeted technical assistance, but they're not getting on-site reviews. So Muskegon Public and Muskegon Montessori are the ones that are getting on-site reviews. I sit in on all of the on-site reviews that are given in the county. There's typically about 2 districts every year that get on-site reviews. I sit with them through that whole process. I work with them for a whole year before they get their on-site review to help them prepare for it. Then I sit at the on-site review with them, and then I help them for a whole year after the on-site review to complete any compliance action. That whole process has been fairly successful so far. Nobody's ever had to get any money back yet, so we'll call that good. I also will sit in on any fiscal audits. So an on-site review is a program audit where they come in to really look at how the districts are doing with implementing programs around the money that they get from the federal government. A fiscal audit is when they come in and make sure that it's being spent correctly and all those sorts of things. So I sit in on fiscal audits also. They never tell us who's getting fiscal audits. They just kind of tell you kind of at the last minute, and then I'll usually get a call and have to go and resuscitate a few people before the audit comes in. So we'll see if anybody gets fiscal audits this year. In my monthly communications that I mentioned earlier, I do talk about school improvement pieces, but I also talk about state and federal program and compliance. I think most of you are probably on the communications that I send out. I also run quarterly regional state and federal program meetings. So the whole congressional district is invited to that. So that's several counties along the west side of the state here. And I conduct meetings here. And then usually the next week, I also conduct them at the Ottawa ISD, so that regionally there's a couple of different choices about where people can go to go to those meetings. This year, I'm working with Jason Helson, who's new in our finance department. He took over from Janet Stewart's position. He and I are going to kind of try to work collaboratively this year to try to get some of our finance directors to come. A lot of our findings are really because our curriculum directors aren't talking to the finance directors. So we're going to try to get them together, and Jason and I are going to try to model what that looks like for program people and fiscal people to work together. So we're spending our money correctly and it's getting where it needs to go to the kids that need it. I'm also going to continue to build out, expand and communicate the Written Process Collaborative, which is something that was created here over the years at the MAISD, and I've been trying to just kind of try to consolidate it into a more easy to find and navigate piece, and it's kind of caught on statewide. So that's something I can show you guys another time, because I feel like I'm already blabbing. So I think kind of my last slide here is just some collaboration opportunities. I think one thing that I'd like to do with IS and SE is to talk about some of the common findings that happen at our on-site reviews. They do very often revolve around curriculum, meaning that our districts don't have them. So they may have curricular resources. They might not even have curricular resources. They don't have anything written down. That has been a finding at every on-site review. And anyway, that's just a real common finding. But I'd like to talk about other common findings because when they come into these reviews, they're really looking at how we're servicing our most at-risk students. And I think that that's something that we should all kind of know what the findings are when they come in. And so I'd like to collaborate around that a little bit at some ISSE time. And just wanted everybody to kind of know I am working to incorporate those compliance findings from TTAC or through the on-site review process into the comprehensive needs assessments. So those findings then can become process data basically for comprehensive needs assessments. So that's something else that I think that we could discuss as ISSE when we're talking about service delivery plans. So I think that was everything. I hope I didn't go over a lot of time. I hope I didn't put everybody to sleep. Anytime I try to talk to my kids or wife about this stuff, they do fall asleep. So hopefully that was all right for you guys. So I hope everybody's doing good, and I will talk to you all soon.